What is going on, everyone? Ooh, ooh. Sorry.
Redo that. We'll just.
Actually, let's start off this way. Zach, hello. Come forward. Hey, everyone. Welcome on to the Ryan Ripken Show. Hey, how you doing? It is live at 5 here on the Ryan Ripken Show. Happy episode 113, Zach, because that's what we're counting now.
Yeah, I guess we have a new number. I'm going to sit down and count the actual, but that's apparently what we're at, 113. So happy 113.
If you find the right number, I'd love that. So that will be your homework for one of these days, just like your homework for tomorrow's show Troy. Is the movie Troy.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's fired up.
I'm excited. Prime time. I'm excited for all this. I'm excited about our show today. You guys have been living under a rock and you missed yesterday's show. We'll go back and watch it. We were doing it live. Could have talked some baseball. We were going to just think about what could happen in the NFL world, and then whammy, John Harbaugh got fired. And that had a lot of reactions, and we had some great guests. We talked to Dan Orlovsky earlier in the day, talked to Bo Smolka with Pressbox Online, who is in Pittsburgh, and then was reacting with us live in the moment. And then Ravens tight end Charlie Kohler graciously still joined the show because he was scheduled to join the show before John Harbaugh was fired, and he's a man of his word, and joined us, and he was fantastic as well. So if you missed it, go back and watch. We are going to be able to talk a little bit of baseball today, but we are going to talk a lot of football. Why? Because of our guests that are joining us, Zach. To kick this off, we have two people that are actually going to be making their Ryan Ripken Show debuts. First one will be Josh Burman with the Next Network. You probably see him running around at tailgates, his post-game rants. We're going to talk about the state of the Ravens. And the Ravens apparently have put in some requests for their new head coach. There's no surprise, and there's some hot names and hot candidates on that list. And then following Josh Burman, we're going to have Hall of Famer and Super Bowl winning head coach Tony Dungy, who was very critical of the decision to get rid of John Harbaugh. But I always have loved the perspective of Tony Dungy. When you've heard him on Sunday Night Football, Zach, and he's talking about the game and what's going wrong, he's been very objective for what the Ravens haven't done well. But I'd love to hear the reasoning because he's been around it, he's seen it, he's done it. So can't wait for him to join us after. And that's kind of all I have to start this off. And now, Zach, overall, have you taken a moment to settle in? Like your blood was pumping yesterday.
No, I've been tweeting through it. Weird day. Weird day. Tweeted out earlier. It was like waking up today for the first time in 18 years. John Harbaugh not as the coach of the Baltimore Ravens. It's been someone actually just saw someone a message, and it makes a lot of, it's true. It's bittersweet, and part of it is it's nice because now that it's over, you no longer have that stress or the anxiety of, okay, what's going on right now, and you can truly take a step back and appreciate the tenure of John Harbaugh and the 18 years that we did have, the success that we had, all of that. Well, yeah, it was time to move on. We'll talk to Coach Dungy because he disagrees, and I want to hear his perspective on that because, if you have followed a lot of people, it seems like a lot of people in Baltimore knew it was time, but a lot of national media people disagree. They're like, hey, what's going on here? So interested to see his perspective, but overall, it's just a weird day. It's just been there's been that feeling the Ravens posted a thank you video, knew it was going to wreck me. It did. It's just it's weird to think about John Harbaugh. Yeah, we can sit here and criticize how the past 2 years have ended, all that. But that when it hits you that it's over, there's definitely some, it stings a little bit. You're like, wow, this is a new era of our lives.
Oh, it certainly is. Dude, this was literally your entire life.
Yeah.
You're a child still,
Mm-hmm.
But still for me, 18 years, right? So 2008, I was just starting high school was when John Harbaugh became the head coach. And to see the evolution, not only for him, but in the community, there's so many different parts here, which we'll dive into because there's one topic I'd like to start with before we get into baseball, Zach, because it is about John Harbaugh, and I'm glad people are giving him his flowers. But the ones that maybe are being a little bit too critical or underplaying his value, I want to make a mention of that. But before we do that, I got to shout out our friends over at Merritt Clubs. Hey, how you doing? Throw up the M. There it is. Merritt Clubs. Zach, we're having a meeting on Monday.
Ooh.
And, you still aren't going to know what you're going to be doing yet. But don't you worry.
Just pray for anything. That's why I keep my body in tip-top shape. Just be prepared for anything.
Well, I hope that that's the case here because we got some plans here, and Merritt Clubs is going to have some special offers going into 2026. No longer $1, but it could be making Zach the best version of himself. And how do you spell best version of yourself, Zach?
MERRITT.
And when I move, you move.
Just like that.
Just like that. Check out merrittclubs.com for more information. Now let's move right into this first topic. So I just mentioned about John Harbaugh, and I tweeted this out because I saw some comments, Zach, about people saying Harbaugh has been carried by his talent all over the years. Look at the first year he came in, look at the Hall of Famers. And I got to be honest here, Zach, it kind of irked me because, look, here's the tweet that I put out. So you guys can see it. And it's always under 3 seconds here at the Ryan Ripken Show. You guys always know I'm on time and I'm always going to hit my mark. Whammy. So this was my part when everyone kept saying about John Harbaugh carried by greatness, great players, Hall of Famers. And it bothered the hell out of me, Zach. So here's my tweet for those that are listening on Spotify and Apple later. I said that Harb's had his faults, no doubt, but the argument to downplay Harbaugh as a coach and say he's been carried by great players, I don't think that's a fair thing to say. I went on to say all coaches who achieve greatness have fantastic players and leaders that impact the run. And so what I want to mention this is, Zach, go back and look at all the Super Bowl teams that won throughout all the years. Good chance the teams that won the Super Bowl had some pretty damn good players.
Yeah.
So does that mean that the coach wasn't great? You know, like I'm going through every team. Let's go through since the Steelers just played the Ravens. Mike Tomlin won the Super Bowl, and guess what? They had some pretty great players. Big Ben was sensational. James Harrison was sensational. I really don't like to downplay somebody for that. The great players help. The great players have to go make the plays. Now, the faults for John, Zach, I would say, is the reason why he probably now is fired, is that the consistency was there, but down the stretch, if you're saying the messaging or the results then weren't enough. But to be a head coach for 18 years and have the record that he had, I don't mess with that of saying he wasn't a good coach. He's a great coach. He's a great coach. The time ran its course, but don't downplay a man who is so coveted because clearly the NFL world thinks so highly of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, you kind of alluded to it there, but you know, I'll take it back to watching the video because it's funny. Everyone's been sharing their Harbaugh favorite moments, and I'm going to say this is best for both because it felt like a switch flipped, and not in a great way, after that AFC Championship loss to the Chiefs. It just felt like there was this, that was our moment type of feeling. And it felt like, you know, you saw videos of Harbaugh and, you know, people would say, oh, Harbaugh, he's not this rah-rah guy. I disagree. He was. Like, that was Harbaugh. He was the guy dancing in the locker rooms, getting in guys' faces. All the players, 2019, Mark Ingram, Lamar Jackson, they all built off of, you know, fed off of what Harbaugh was doing and the energy he brought. It just, you could see it kind of slip away. And I think it's a fresh start needed for both. I've said the whole time, Harbaugh is not a bad coach. The message got stale. Sometimes when you're there for 18 years, believe it or not, you need a new messenger. Like, you know, you need a new way of thinking. You need to switch something up. It's life. So for Harbaugh, I mean, heck, we know officially that a team with a head coach has reached out to Harbaugh about his interest. And I literally, Ryan, did I not say it? I said a team with head coaches will make moves if they feel like John Harbaugh could go to them. And they already are. Like, that's how coveted he is. He's seen as a guy who can turn the franchise around. Now, for the Ravens, it's getting a guy, and they've already tweeted it out, or it's been reported that the Ravens want a guy that can elevate Lamar Jackson. It's clear. I think from that, you're kind of thinking, okay, maybe is it going to be an offensive guru, a Clint Kubiak, of sorts, who we will get into all that a little later. But it makes you wonder if kind of the Ravens' identity, big word that we've, used with Dan Orlovsky and over the past few days, is just the identity didn't feel like the Ravens had it anymore. I think they are moving towards, they want to be that electrifying offense. It's clearly that their identity, or at least what it looks like they want to build. We'll see. Maybe if they go get Jesse Minter or Shula from the Rams, a Brian Flores, and you say, hey, you're focusing on defense. But it just, from what reports are saying, it looks like they're all in. They're all in on Lamar Jackson. And I'll say one thing: anyone who questioned the relationship between Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, and is Lamar going to be traded? All those horrendous rumors that we get anytime Lamar struggles, even the slightest. It's clear the Ravens chose Lamar Jackson. They want Lamar to be happy. They want to get the most out of Lamar Jackson, and they want to put Lamar Jackson in the best position to succeed. They want him to reach that next level, and that's clear what their identity is it is all in on Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, and at one point it looked like everything was the perfect marriage, and we can go back to 2023. Like, it looked like everything was there because of where the team was. And if the Ravens go to the Super Bowl that year, Zach, honestly, right now, we still might not be having this conversation. It's just because with the groups that they haven't gotten the place. This is all where it comes from. But we just wanted to emphasize. I'm glad the Ravens did the tribute. Would have been shocked if they didn't. Like, I had someone tell me in a comment about, well, no, Harbaugh really didn't do anything for the organization. And that's the part where I sit here and go, that's just a load of shit. Because not one person embodies or identifies of playing like a Raven. Now, you can say one player, like they'd go, oh, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed. You're right, but it's not just one person. It's a collection of the people that make the Ravens the Ravens. John Harbaugh is one of those people, whether people want to admit that or not. You might love Ed Reed and Ray Lewis and Jonathan Ogden and Terrell Suggs, Lamar Jackson, whoever it may be, whoever your favorite player, Marshall Yanda. Got to give the offensive lineman some more love. But whoever it may be, it's a collection that created the Ravens. And through a lot of this, 18 years, John Harbaugh was a reason of what the Ravens stand for. And now it's a new era. And I'm happy for him that he's going to have a chance. He's going to get a choice. I'm curious where it's going to be. I still think Giants and Falcons are the two teams with the pieces that I watch the most. It's not about talking about where John's going to end up today. But
I'm just saying, the foundation is there. Obviously John's competitive. He's got that edge to him.
Don't say it.
I wouldn't count out if he wanted 2 shots against the Ravens each year and went to Cleveland.
Dude, I wouldn't touch Cleveland with a 30.5-foot ball.
But I saw someone put it out there, and it's true. Like, imagine if you have success in Cleveland, you're immortalized there. If he wins anything there, his legend grows. Like, if he wants to really become a legend, imagine he somehow – now, I would hate this. He somehow wins it all in Cleveland. He gets put up there with Belichick. It would be – so I thought that was – I don't think that happens. I think Kevin Stefanski has to be pissed off, because imagine being the hot ticket item and you're like, oh, I get to decide where I go, and then the rest. And he's going to New York. He's like, I'm about to get the best deal. I'm making my spot. And then phone buzzes. Oh, John Harbaugh is also going to New York for an interview. And it's like, oh, okay. So
I mean, we can save the rest of the take for Harbaugh, but like, Zach, zip it. I mean, that's like, get the tinfoil. I don't have a tinfoil hat. I just got my Iron Rooster breakfast hat, which now I look like I'm in trucker season right now.
Really?
What you like? Do you like this look, by the way?
Oh no.
How about now?
Yeah, you got to bring that down.
But if I leave it up, it's like, yoo-hoo, throw the hat. Anyway, the Giants, I think, or the Falcons, if you're looking at pieces right now, those two teams, if you want to just get frisky and just turn the NFL upside down, then Cleveland's your place. But here's one thing with the Ravens that I want to point out as well. And you're right. If John went to a place like Cleveland, it would probably go down as one of the greatest coaching years ever. And that's not an exaggeration. That's ever, because the Cleveland Browns haven't won in ever. And the organization has been dysfunctional forever, it feels like. So I do think it's interesting. But if I'm John, Giants or Falcons, we'll get into all that more. The pieces are there. I'm looking forward to seeing where John's going to be. But for the meantime, Zach, we're going to talk with Josh later in about 15, 20 minutes. And then we'll have Tony Dungy on to talk more football. But real quick, do you have a list of just who those coaches are? Because I know people have wondered who the Ravens had requested interviews for.
So at the moment we have two. First is reported Dine Orlovsky. Baltimore Ravens have requested permission to interview Miami Dolphins defensive coordinator, formerly in Baltimore. Actually was assistant head coach in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Anthony Weaver for their head coaching vacancy. And then also reported Tom Pelissero. The Ravens requested an interview with Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak for their head coaching job per sources. And that is the fifth interview request for Kubiak, who can interview for jobs during Seattle's playoff bye this week. There maybe I missed one. It seems as those are the two at least that I've seen out right now. Clint is the guy. Listen, I understand that it takes two to tango, and the Ravens have to be interested as well, and obviously they are if they're requesting. But Ryan, like everyone talks about, okay, Clint Kubiak, the next offensive guru. He fits that, that quote unquote mold. Every year, everyone's like, okay, who's the offensive guru? Who's the Ben Johnson? Who is the, Shane Steichen? Who's that offensive guru? Is there a better spot for a young offensive guru head coach to get a start than, hey, you're acquiring a team with Lamar Jackson that was betting favorites to win the Super Bowl this past year before injuries? Like, it just feels like if he gets all these contract offers for the same amount, obviously, it feels like that's something that if Kubiak gets an offer, why wouldn't he want to be with Lamar? Just my 2 cents real fast.
I mean, if you're any offensive coordinator or any offensive mind, why the hell would you not want to be with one of the most dynamic players the game has ever seen? And especially if you expect, which I expect, Derrick Henry is still going to be an absolute beast next year. I'm not like, even if he has a little bit of a fall off, if he was 80%, okay, 1,100 yards and 13 touchdowns for Derrick. Like, it's exciting. It's appealing. But time will tell, right, Zach? Like, time's going to tell on this. The biggest thing for the Ravens, I think more than anything right now, we'll wait to talk with Josh and Tony, because I think for them is to take a step back and what do you want the identity to be for 2026 and beyond? I think that the Ravens have been a team in the trenches, physical, tough, or that's when they've been at their best. I think you need to assign and address what you want to do. And then obviously the head coaching part is going to be, it's critical, but also that head coach has to match how you want to play football next year. So yeah, we'll get into all that, Zach, because we could just go down the rabbit hole here for a long period of time right now. But we do want to get to a little bit of baseball because we do have a lot of football coming your way here the rest of the show. So, hey, how you doing? If you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We're live here on YouTube, X, and Facebook Monday through Friday here. We are changing our live shows next week to 3 p.m. And if you want to blame anyone, you can blame me. My baseball schedule is about to start up, and I'll explain more about that next week here. And I want to be able to give you guys as much content as we possibly can. So we're going to move the show to 3 so I can be available to do pregame work going into this 2026 baseball season. We are going to light it up this year, and I'm really excited to share some of the opportunities that we have in store. Is that
like lighting up, like the fireworks?
Yeah.
I was just trying to hype you up. I mean, we didn't have to call it out.
I was gonna say I was gonna go like, baby, you're a firework.
Come on, baby, show them what your work. Make them go, as you shoot across the sky.
Boom. That is a banger. That's a banger of a song. And scene. All right. Let's talk. What?
Every time I hear that, I think of The Interview now.
It's a good movie. Solid movie.
Give me your work. Okay, on. Past Katy Perry.
And scene. Let's go back now to let's go to the baseball side because we got to catch up on some things. There was a move made today, and I wonder if this is going to be the string of moves that gets everything going. And there was 2 analysts, MLB reporters, that were talking about what the next moves could be. And I agree with one, disagree with the other. But let's start with the up top. Edward Cabrera, Marlins pitcher, has been traded to the Chicago Cubs. There's Jeff Passan's tweet. The Cubs have acquired right-hander Edward Cabrera in a trade with the Marlins that sends top outfield prospect Owen Cassey and 2 other hitting prospects to Miami. Deal is done and official. So the Marlins get a top outfield prospect to get a bat. They had an abundance of pitching. And Edward Cabrera, which is one of the hottest trade pieces, is going to Chicago. Chicago needed it. I like it for both teams, Zach. The thing for Edward Cabrera is only pitched 137 innings, in which was a big year for him, 3.53 ERA. He's got great stuff. He can pump it up to almost 100. His changeup's almost as fast as his fastball, and that ain't an exaggeration.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a move that had to be made. Pitchers can get hurt all the time, but with control and upside, the Cubs made that move, and they needed to make that move. But why this is important is that that's one trade piece off the market now, Zach, right? So Edward's gone, and what we've been hearing so far is, well, teams could make more trades. And actually, this was yesterday. Ken Rosenthal was on Foul Territory talking about specifically with the Orioles and saying, well, the Orioles, they could make another trade. So I want to play this part first, and then I need to talk about it on the other side. So, Zach, let's play that clip.
Jay, that's exactly where they are with this. And in that article I wrote with Will, we quoted an executive as saying they view their rotation as adequate. Well, adequate is not necessarily where they want to be. It's not where they want to be. Now, they're in a good spot right now, a much better spot than they were. It's Trevor Rogers, Kyle Bradish, it's Shane Baz, it's Zach Eflin, it's Dean Kramer, right there. That's what you have. And you have Tyler Wells in the mix as well, and some others. Okay. But what you're saying is exactly what they seem to believe, that they need one more that they could fit toward the top of their rotation. So who are we talking about? Framber Valdez or Ranger Suarez are the 2 leading free agents, both left-handed, both would fit really well in Baltimore. And then the trade possibilities that are out there. Freddie Peralta is one. Edward Cabrera is one, and the Orioles have been linked to him before. And there are others as well, Mackenzie Gore. So I don't know exactly how they're going to get this player or who it's going to be, but they believe that they have still the prospect depth to make another trade for a starting pitcher, even after giving up the 5 players they did for Baz. And then at that point, if they get the next starter, the other starter, then they would be, in their minds, more complete. They'd still like to do some stuff in the bullpen, like every team, it seems. They still would like additional depth in center field if they can find it, but the starter is their primary focus right now.
So, I'll take that. You can take it off, Zach. So, right there, I hear the trade part, and he's right on that part. But where I disagree on initially when he was talking about Cabrera, I never thought that the Orioles, even though you heard it, the more and more that time went on, the more and more you realized typically what I see with Baltimore, it's a deal when you don't hear for a trade. They don't want to know the trade value with other teams. But what they do want you to be aware of is who they're in on with free agents. So the trade market with Cabrera, you heard it early, then it got really quiet. Yankees the same way. And then the report came out the Yankees weren't even close to a deal because the Marlins had a certain piece in mind. And they got it. They got a great prospect coming from the Cubs. Outfielder, they want another bat. Makes perfect sense.
Top 50 guy. He's a top 50 prospect in all baseball. Did very well.
Really good. So here is this part where he mentioned those two names, but I think John Heyman is exactly right with this. And not that Ken was wrong, but I think, John, this is the move I expect next. Let's play John's clip real quickly.
More serious running for anybody. Look, they've had a great offseason already, right? With Ward coming, with Helsley coming. They've done very well. And obviously, Alonso, the big one, I do think they're looking at pitching. So I'm expecting, I'm expecting them to add a pitcher. We'll see who it is. I think they'll look at Suarez. They'll look at Fromber. We know that Mike Elias knows Fromber. Wouldn't rule that out.
So right there, I think that's the exact answer. I think the next move for the Baltimore Orioles is going to be signing a pitcher because I just think that the trade market, now that Edwards off, and the Cubs are, to me, what the Cubs are also showing, and I'd be shocked by this, but they're one of many teams that are going, we're not in play for a big name. Mm-hmm. And the Orioles, what we've talked about, it's either you get an upside pitcher moving forward that you are just blown away with, but it's going to cost a lot, or you trade for a guy like Peralta, and then you give up a ton, plus you got to sign him. And so while I think that is I don't think that's a huge possibility. I really don't. I think it's very unlikely at this point in time.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, hey, great. But it seems to me for the Orioles, the market for Ranger and Framber makes the most sense. And I think the biggest reason why, Zach, I think that their market wasn't as hot and as high as people were anticipating. Like, people want Ranger. Framber's been a little bit quieter, probably for a lot of different reasons, what happened in Houston last year. The dude's still a stud, but I think the teams are going, I don't want to give 5 years or 6 years. I don't want to give $30 million to a pitcher. And I think that now has put the Orioles really back in play to go and land one of those guys.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and I'll say it as well. I disagree with Ken solely because I always thought the Orioles were going to make, we always said it, we've said it multiple times, one trade, one signing, bigger signing on the starting pitching market. They gave up a haul for Boz. They gave up a lot of talent. And I understand that they brought back Zach Eflin. I'm not counting that as their signing. That's a re-signing. They brought him back. If you're going to go get another frontline guy or a potential frontline guy, it just makes so much more sense to go into the free agency pool, especially with two guys sitting there. It'd be different if we were sitting here and there was a singular guy and it was, let's just say it was Valdez and every team was in a bidding war for him and you knew you weren't going to make it. Then you have to change your sights. But like you said, I think the Orioles are very much in on both Valdez and Suarez specifically. And the biggest reason is if, like you said, with Peralta, would love it. Adds an insane arm to your rotation immediately. Got to give up a lot to get him. Probably as much, if not more than Shane Baz. And then you got to re-sign him. So now you're giving out the big contract anyway, but you're losing these prospects. If it were me, if you feel like you're forced to make a trade with one of Mountcastle, Mayo, or some of the depth, you use that to get a high leverage bullpen arm. If that's what you're thinking. If guys are there on the free agency market like they are with Gallen, with Valdez, with Suarez, you go out there and you make one of them, your highest paid pitcher. You go out there and you go get your guy that makes this rotation, like he said, good, not just adequate. It puts them into probably the top 10 if they add a Suarez or a Valdez, but it all comes down to how they want to deal these prospects. Because do you want them as depth Or do you want to use these guys like Kobe Mayo and Ryan Mountcastle? Are we sitting there saying, okay, we're going into camp with all three in case injuries happen? Like, we will be prepared and use them as depth. Or are you using your farm system to work for you? You trade Mountcastle plus prospects, get an eighth inning guy. I think that's the better route than using your prospects to get another guy, because it would probably be Peralta at this point or like a Mackenzie Gore. And you're going to have to give up a lot. And I don't know if that's going to be worth it after you already did.
Yeah. So, and to this point as well, when Ken said about the bullpen part, Tyler Wells is going to go to the pen. He's going to go to the pen, and he's proven he can be a bullpen guy. That's a way to preserve him. And I like Tyler Wells as actually being a sleeper bullpen asset, right? And I know like that's nothing out there reporting, but like let's read between the lines here. You signed Eflin back. Tyler Wells, of all these pitchers, is the only one that has been in that bullpen, and also then there's been questions about his durability as a starter, but he's proven he can pitch in clutch situations. So Tyler Wells to the pen. But to finish this point, Zach, when you're looking at identifying your roster moving forward, and I said about dependability of the guys that are still out there, it makes sense for Framber or Ranger. Now, I think either one would make a huge impact. Framber is the more workhorse than Ranger, but you get them. And then here's the thing. You go into spring training, you see what happens. And then if you go throughout the season and you need to make moves at the deadline or throughout the year, you have the ammo to do it. So I think that's where it's all moving into these pieces. And for those that are saying about Mountie, I love Mountie, dude. I still believe in him, but he has no trade value out there right now.
Yeah.
There just isn't. Like, and
if he had 4 years, I think there are. Just when you take into consideration a contract and everything, if he had 3 years left, I think there's definitely value there. But, I agree. I don't think the value, you're not trading Ryan Mountcastle straight up and getting a high leverage bullpen arm or a starting pitcher.
You're selling low on Ryan Mountcastle if you do this. So, like, if you're ready to just move on, and if I'm a team out there, I would buy Ryan Mountcastle. I would. If I'm going to give him every day at bats and it's not going to cost me much, I'm calling the Orioles and saying, all right, how do we make this done? And how do we try to maybe sweeten it a little bit if you believe in that? I believe in Ryan Mountcastle for that regard, but for right now, doesn't make sense. Now, Kobe Mayo's that part where it depends on how teams view him. But regardless of it, that's a situation. But if everyone's going to have this anticipation that you're going to go whammy and you're going to move on up there and you're going to trade some of these guys for these high-end players that you want, that ain't how this works. And so I hate to burst that bubble, but not bursting this bubble. I think the Orioles' next move is going to be one of those top guys. And I'm hoping, and after seeing some comments the other days at the economic dinner down in D.C., you can tell the Orioles are still in play. And there's a lot of pitchers still out there. And time is moving, and someone's going to have to make a choice soon. So I'm not bursting that bubble on the Orioles. I think that's the next move in Baltimore here, but time will tell. But also, in the meantime, you guys can hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. We are switching our show to 3 p.m. for the lives starting next week. And also, besides watching on YouTube, X, and Facebook, check out Instagram at Ryan Ripken Show. That's at Zach Bollinger 18 on X. I think you're just Zach Bollinger on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm just Zach Bollinger on Instagram. Zach _Bollinger. I switch it up. I keep people on their toes, Ryan. I keep people on their toes.
Is that what you do?
I try.
You're a good kid. I don't care what.
Put it in the paper.
Put it in the paper?
Yeah, did you see that comment, Mike Arrighetti?
Oh, put it in the paper. Yeah. Now I hear you. Now
I hate the Yankees as much as anyone. That's what I like to hear from them. Put it in the paper. Love that.
Mm-hmm. Hey, get that rivalry
in the paper. Bring back that in the paper.
Hey, spice that puppy up, though, Zach, because here's the thing. When that rivalry, Yankees-Orioles, is rocking, it's great for baseball, just like the Red Sox and Yankees. I love that the Padres and the Dodgers hate each other. You know, if Gavin Sheets gets beamed this year, I hope he charges the mound. Like, I hope we see it. Gavin, don't get suspended, but, I want to see a little bit of heart from the kid. But in the meantime, Zach, our stream's got to go on. We got to keep pushing through. But before we keep pushing on with the live stream, let's talk a little bit about AutoStream here. Hey, how you doing? Whammy, who's that handsome guy? You want to say it? Me? No, you. That's me. Just
AutoStream, baby.
AutoStream. But guys, we just partnered with AutoStream Car Care Center. They have 10 locations throughout Maryland here, and I'm really excited about what we have in store with them. But to kick off this partnership, they are offering a deal that I can give out to you. You get $50 off any service by going there and mentioning Ryan Ripken, or I saw you on the Ryan Ripken show. Now, you can't combine offers. So if they have other specials going, you can't combine. But if you're going in, I need to get something fixed, $50 off any service at their 10 locations throughout Maryland. Appreciate AutoStream Car Care Center, and cannot wait for what we have in store. So that's our AutoStream, but let's continue on with the live stream here, Zach. Whammy. There we go. Whammy. All right. It's time to get back into some football talk. That's still the highlight of what's happening here. It's hot. It's caliente.
Something happened?
I don't know. I guess it's something of that magnitude happened for the first time in Baltimore in 18 years. And a guy that's been boots on the ground literally all season to see it all unfold. You've probably seen him on Instagram, TikTok. He has a giant hat at tailgates. And he also then has some very passionate rants before, during, and after games, but he's making his show debut. And Josh, give me a thumbs up when you're ready to rock and roll. Oh, look at that. He's ready to rock and roll. Guys, let's bring on Josh Burman from the Next Network.
What
Josh,
up?
welcome on, man. Welcome to the show. Your debut. Hey, congrats, buddy.
Yeah, man. Moving up in the world.
Hey, how we doing? I mean, we've been talking the last couple of days, and game planning. And obviously, you went to every single game this year. I've seen the videos and responses, but for those that haven't seen that, your initial reaction when you heard the news, John Harbaugh out as Baltimore.
I'll be honest, I was more surprised than I thought I was going to be. I really was, because I went into the game saying, if we lose, we're going to fire Harbaugh. And then we lost, and then we fired Harbaugh, and I was shocked. And it was really weird. The other part I didn't expect to feel was a little sad. But, I'm happy we did it. We needed to do it. It was time to move on. I'm 21 years old. I was 3 when we hired him. It's time to move on. But, it's kind of sad. It's surreal. I don't really know a Ravens team without John Harbaugh. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of Ravens fans, myself included, agree that this is the right move. But the move next, the next move, the hiring, that matters so much more. Because they can either figure it out, and that can be what gets them over the hump, or they can screw it up, and we're in the same spot. Had a cough last week.
It's okay. You're getting choked up by the situation. Yeah.
Happens to
choked up joining the show and John Harbaugh. It's emotional for you,
yeah,
Josh. I get it. Yeah.
There we go. We're all good now.
Oh, yeah. Good.
But Josh, I agree with you. I mean, it's one of those things where I think we all got so caught up with the blinders on of change needs to be made. Change needs to be made. And then change was made and we're like, oh, they did it. And now all of a sudden it was this emotion of the sadness and looking back and all of that. And then the next thing you know, it sets in, like you said, you're like, who are we going to hire? We don't have a head coach now. It went from Harbaugh needs to be gone. And now Harbaugh is gone. And everyone's like,
well, now what?
Hope the next guy's good. Hope the next guy gets us over the hump. Because there is no guarantee. Like you said, they could screw this up. And that is a very real possibility. As much as I love the Ravens and I think that they have a well-oiled machine inside that organization where they can identify talent, they're just well-run top to bottom. So I trust them. It's a possibility that they look at the Patriots. I think they're very well run. They hired Gerard Mayo to take over from Belichick, and within a year, they're like, okay, we messed that up. We're going to try this again.
They fell in their laps.
Exactly, because you can't say that's not going to happen to Baltimore. You hope it doesn't, but it's a possibility.
Definitely is. There's a lot of options though. And
Yeah.
the one that I want is Brian Flores, but I haven't heard a word about, forget the Ravens. I haven't heard a word about anyone wanting him, which is interesting to me. Might have something to do with the ongoing lawsuit that he has against, the entire league.
Yeah.
So maybe some owners might be a little hesitant, but that's, to me, that's the best fit. Jesse Minter sounds like the most likely option.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would do a good job, but I'm also a little hesitant. If you're going to make this move, I don't know if I want anyone that has any ties to Harbaugh. Can anyone do John Harbaugh better than John Harbaugh? I'm not sure. I think I want someone completely different. But at the same time, if we got a guy like Jesse Minter, I don't think I'd be upset about it. I think he'd do a good job.
Yeah. Hey, Josh, one thing I was looking at, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Fitzmagic, was saying part of the lawsuit situation, and I should have pulled that clip too, Zach, but he was saying that it's like times past where everyone goes like, Brian Flores is an unbelievable D coordinator. That guy deserves another head coaching job. But then he's saying if people then interviewed some people of the Miami Times, he said Brian burned a lot of bridges. So on top of the lawsuit, and I'm with you, I think his style of how he runs a defense, if you're like, what do you want from a defense? It's a Brian Flores defense. They are ferocious, they're lethal, and they put the fear in you that they can make an impact. But I do think that is maybe something there, and I thought that was an interesting perspective from Ryan Fitzpatrick.
But then on some of
go ahead. What?
He played for Flores.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I brought it up. There's a connection there. But now let's talk at the other options. Talk at the other options then for a second. Tom Pelissero tweeted out that Clint Kubiak was an option. In your mind here, Josh, because we're going to hear a lot of different names. And Anthony Weaver is another name. And I know that's the Harbaugh tree. However, if you were looking right now, your crystal ball or just your gut feeling, would you want to go offense or would you want to go defense for a new head coach?
If I had to answer, I'd say offense, but it's not enough to honestly, I want the best guy. I don't really care. I guess offense, but that to me, that's not a deal breaker.
Yeah.
There are plenty of good offensive head coaches. There are plenty of good defensive head coaches. I just want a guy who's going to be good. I want a guy that is going to get you over the hump, because here's the thing. The difference between the Ravens and the other 6 openings in the NFL is if you can show progress, if you can show that things are going in the right direction, that is a great job if you go to the other 6. If you come to Baltimore, you got to be in the Super Bowl hunt next year. And that's the thing. We're not – John Harbaugh can make us a solid team. He's done it. The reason why we moved on is because we want to win a Super Bowl. And that narrows that list down heavily. And
what's the stat though right now? What's the stat on new first-time head coach going and winning a Super Bowl?
Gary Kubiak did it.
Did Kubiak do it?
2015. That's one. Yeah. Did the Cowboys win right after they fired Jimmy Johnson, or was there a year off?
Let me.
And the same thing with Bill Walsh. Those 2.
So overall, though, the fact that it's hard to list, right? It's hard to list that. It's few. Yeah. Very few that this happens. So there's an understanding here for Ravens fans, or in my mind, you could have a new head coach come in and the Ravens still might not get over the hump next year. Just from a historical standpoint, it would take an historic moment, because you mentioned Gary Kubiak. Okay, that's 10 years ago. What was the next one that we had?
The other 2 that I thought of, and I'm not 100% sure I know they did it, I just don't know if it was that following year, was the Niners and the Cowboys after Jimmy Johnson and after Bill Walsh. I don't know if there was a year in between that or not, though. There might have been.
So I think that's exactly my point, is if we're going through all of this, winning's hard. winning the Super Bowl is extremely challenging. And right now, like if I'm looking at, just had the record up for him.
Oh, that's right. The Colts. That's right. The guy that Jeremy Lee in the chat's right about that one.
Yeah.
Dominic Liberty did it.
But anyway, overall, hard. Like Nick Sirianni's had a great run. He didn't win in 2021.
Nope.
They've been to 2 Super Bowls. Won one, lost one, but it wasn't in year one. So I think that's going to be the interesting part, Josh, is like where does this all go? So there's so much speculation though, dude. Like Zach, we continue to talk about this. We're like, I'm still processing. Like we were live yesterday when this all happened. I'm also still like, I'm still looking back at the Ravens lost a game that could go down as one of the top 5, top 10 losses in Ravens history, just from an impact of like, damn, that hurt, you know? So Josh, why don't we take us through your emotions? Let's set the scene. Let's relive some agony. Pittsburgh, 26-24, 2 seconds. Thoughts, emotions, go.
Well, I am in the process of editing the vlog right now. I got through the first half and I stopped and I turned something on and now I'm here. I'm going to edit the second half later. I didn't have the heart to finish editing it. Yeah. I am thinking back to it though, and it was, I have this faith in Lamar to get it done. So it was like, I didn't let myself believe that Lamar wasn't going to get it done. I will enter a game skeptical. I will go into a game like, all right, here's how we can win, here's how we can lose. But once the game gets going, and once I see that there's a chance we can win, we're going to win. So I was just ready for it. I did say in the clip that I did post of it, it's the hardest stadium in the league to kick in, according to pretty much every kicker, including I've heard Tucker say it, I've heard Boswell say it, and they're not the only ones I've heard say it. I think it's something with the water being there, that it's the toughest stadium in the league to kick in. So it was in the back of my mind that he might miss it, but I didn't let myself really believe he was going to miss it until he did.
Yeah, we had Charlie Kohler on yesterday, and like I felt so damn bad just for because he actually was like, hey, I'd love to come on. What I feel bad about is that he came on right after the news broke, and he's like, I'm a man of my word, I'm going to come on. Yeah, like he's such a special dude. I when I look at high character guys, I hope he comes back to Baltimore.
Resign him.
Yep.
We need to. Like I wanted him to know that people we're talking about like identifying being a Raven, playing like a Raven. Charlie Kohler, like he's an example. People love him. He works hard. He's gotten better. I digress. But I asked him though.
Throw something out in the universe. I just want to throw this out here.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've had this thought forever because I think he's hilarious. Charlie Kohler, start a podcast. I'll co-host it with you.
Yeah.
I almost want to throw that out there because I think he'd be really good at it. And hey, I'm gonna just throw it out there. I would like him back.
Oh yeah, he's a beast. I don't know if I have the clip made up, Zach, but when I said Charlie, you were feeling some type of way, you tweeted out pain, and he was like, "Oh yeah," he goes, "I don't tweet very often, but I was having some beers, and
one thing led to another."
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's tough. It really is those gut-wrenching moments. So even through a moment of so much frustration, and such a year of stress, the guys fought till the end. Like for me, Zach, maybe your take on it real quick. I not only was it a really Charlie feeling like how we felt of just Harbaugh's fired. You're sitting there, players, Josh. Some guys like I grew up around the locker room at times. And I know a lot of guys, when someone gets fired, like you feel partially responsible for that. And so like I could feel that. And Zach, I think like Charlie in general, I just took away this season weighed so much on all of them, right? Like, did you get that feeling when we talked to him?
Yeah, and he even talked about afterwards. He's like, I'm so happy free agency isn't for another month and a half. He's like, I need to relax. He's like, there's so many emotions going through your mind right now after that season, because it felt like they were always right there. It was always, if they didn't blow this lead, they're in. If they didn't do this, if they made this kick, if this guy doesn't drop this interception, they win this game. And yeah, I think honestly, it was, it embodied everything about this Raven season of just, it mentally wore everyone out. I think the fans, it wore out. Mm-hmm. I think obviously ownership was worn out afterwards because Bisciotti made the move. And I think, coaches and just players, like, I think this season was a real, like, you had to make a move after this season. If they would have made the playoffs, they go on a run, that's one thing. But if there wasn't a magical run, something had to give, because it was just one of those seasons where everyone kind of left it with a bad taste in their mouth of like, that kind of sucked.
Kind of?
Yeah, very much.
Yeah, it was ugly. And being there, of course, this being the year that this is taking hold of my whole life, but this being the year that I went to all the road games, and just like watching this in person every week was really crazy. They did play a lot better on the road than at home, so there was. I was going to say at least the road trips you saw win. Yeah, other than Buffalo and Pittsburgh, the road trips weren't Kansas City. Other than those three, like, it wasn't that bad because I went home with my team winning a lot more than my team losing. Mm-hmm. But just seeing it, and actually I got that vibe too of like it weighing on them in every press conference of the entire season. Even after wins, I got that vibe sometimes where it was just like, you could feel it because they feel the pressure. We want to pretend like every single team can win a Super Bowl before a year starts, but only a few teams really can. And I think the Ravens knew that they could, and they felt themselves actively losing that opportunity to the point where they're not even in the playoffs. Yeah.
I forget who said it, but it's so true. Like this, actually, I think it was Jake Luke from Exit 52. Like the season wins didn't feel exciting. Wins were just a sigh of relief. Like it was like, okay, they didn't blow this one. Like you didn't have that like, oh, Ravens dominated. Ravens took care of business. Like this is the team. It just felt more like, okay, they didn't blow that. They didn't, lose it. And, when they were 1-5, you start like that. Then suddenly, they get up to 3-5 or whatever, 4-5. And you even have guys like Kyle Hamilton being like, hey, like, yeah, this is a good win, but like, we still got more to go. Like we got to dig ourselves out. And you could feel almost like you said, the pressure of they started 1-5. They needed to get out of the hole, but the hole kept getting bigger and the season kept getting shorter as it went on, and they had to play perfectly at the end, and they didn't.
It's going to be very interesting to see where we go because there's a lot of interesting free agents, but to me, Linderbaum's the only one that's like huge. Yeah. There's a bunch of solid ones, though. There's a lot of guys that I like Isaiah Likely, Charlie Kohler, those two. That could be interesting. Pat Ricard, I don't see any world where he's not back as long as that, but that is another one. And then you got Draymond and Van Noy, and you got Ardarius and Gilman. I think both of those are one or the other. I'm interested to see which way you go and why. Cheeto, I think, is under the Ravens pipeline. If you sign the guy in the middle of the offseason, he's a great year. He's going to go and get paid somewhere, suck over there. We're going to get a 5th-round comp pick, and we've seen that story a million times. Like that's what I see with Cheeto. But there's a lot of interesting ones, and then you got Marlon Humphrey, and then you got Matabike, because he may or may not ever play again. Yeah. Marlowe is one of my favorite Ravens of all time, but he's acted like a baby all year. I'm sorry, it's time to go. So there's a lot of interesting decisions. Oh, and then you got to hire a head coach.
Yeah. And the real fast, the Ricard thing, I think that depends on the head coach too, because, the Harbaughs love a fullback, but as much as I connect Baltimore with fullbacks, it's because Harbaugh's been Baltimore. So does a Clint Kubiak come in or, somebody, if it's a Jesse Minter, I'm thinking Jesse Minter obviously coming. He would probably love Ricard because he's coming from a Harbaugh and he's got a defensive tackle as his fullback there anyway. But that's going to be, the Ricard thing's going to be interesting to see if they change personnel-wise if, depending on the head coach.
You literally just threw that. It's in my mind now. John goes to the Giants and Ricard's blocking for Dart and Scattaboo and Tyrone Tracy. I'm already in. Can you imagine Pat with Scattaboo?
Giants fans would love him.
Oh, dude.
And his personality on top of it. Oh God, they love him.
All right, I'm going to say that right now. If Harbaugh goes to the Giants,
I think he will.
Oh my goodness. Pat on that. Oh no. I don't want Pat to leave Baltimore, but that would be entertaining. They got a good fit. We don't have to worry about right now what could be the next move. Maybe here, Josh, as we move forward, have you back on, talk about the X's and O's of what we see happening here. Because we'll be talking a little bit more here, Zach. Josh's a good kid. He works hard. And you know what? His show debut is it's him, and he's setting up Tony Dungy joining us here in the next 15 minutes. Yeah. How do you feel about that? It's Hall of Fame. That
was a hilarious sentence that I read on my phone. Was, hey, we have 540 Tony Dungy. Yeah, sure. That was just a hilarious sentence to read on my phone. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, just another day.
Actually, I'm interested to hear what he thinks because, we're we only know so much, and he's a guy that gets it.
Mm-hmm.
And he had Peyton Manning, who really ran the show. I get the vibe that the reason why this move was made is because they, and rightfully so, are letting Lamar kind of make some decisions. Mm-hmm. I'm interested in if he feels that similarity of how much of a role Peyton had compared to how much of a role Lamar has, and if he sees that. And there's a lot of interesting things because as much as people want to say that Lamar's done, he turned 29 today.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, happy birthday. Brother's birthday.
Yeah,
your brother's birthday is tomorrow?
Yeah.
Hey, happy birthday to your brother.
Yeah. Hey. Braun Breaker. Yeah, shout out Braun Breaker. Very true. He's a monster. Singing in the chat. But
but here's the thing with Tony, and that's why I'm really curious, right? There are some things and patterns people can look at. I would still say, and being around Baltimore, and, I've grown up in the area, I've had some relationships with people involved with both the Ravens and the Orioles. Shocking. But
just a couple. Name a few.
But even for me, Steve Bisciotti's always been a guy that's very level. Now, does he get pissed off? Yes, because he expects the team to succeed. And he usually then the level head always seems to be there. But I think this year was different. What?
He never talks.
Well, and for me, I just always felt this year for Steve, things were for him was getting to a breaking point. So I'm sure people are going to look at the Lamar situation, and I'm sure Lamar was probably going to say something if he was really that against it. Again, we're all doing the hypotheticals. We hear rumors, whatever it's going to be. But at the end of the day, I do believe Steve, as an owner, was sitting here and he was recognizing this is not what we need anymore. And that frustration hit a tipping point. And the thing is, he is level-headed. He's really close with John Harbaugh. That's a tough conversation, but I give him a lot of props because I do believe this industry is tough. Because business can turn ugly for the longest time, though. And I don't like maybe, Josh, how this maybe came out. I thought it was a little bit weird how
very strange.
That part to me is a little shocking.
Me too.
But overall, they have a friendship, and I hope it ended well.
Me too.
But it did seem weird that the news broke and there wasn't a proper addressing, But I don't know. But Steve Bisciotti, the point being to this, it's hard, man. It was a tough decision, but it was definitely something that was brewing for a while.
I give him a lot of credit, and yeah, I think it's very interesting. And that you know what? That's part of the reason why I was so shocked was the wording of the reports, not mutual parting of ways. The fact that it was widely reported as a firing, and then the statements come out, and Bisciotti used the word "I" twice in that first paragraph.
Oh yeah.
He made it very clear that it wasn't mutual. John, in his statement, made it very clear it wasn't mutual. And even before all of that, the insiders made it clear it wasn't mutual. And that was my big shock. It was like, wow.
We always said it on this show. Yeah, I said I truly felt the Ravens would never fire John Harbaugh. It would be the classic, they're parting ways. They mutually decided, and both Bisciotti, they would have done the PR stuff of like, yeah, we had a long talk with John and we decided this is the best for both of us. John would be like, yeah, met with Steve. We thought this is for both parties, our best way moving forward. And they were going to do the whole PR thing, even if he was fired. For them, like, I'm just intrigued what happened in the conversation for Steve to pretty blatantly, after originally it was like, oh, are they parting ways? And Steve was kind of like, we didn't part ways. I fired him. Like, it was almost like a shock that Steve came out and was like, hey, this isn't, this is what happened. Yeah. Steve's moving differently. Like, usually, like you said, like, the Ravens are usually very PR. Like, they are, hey, we're going to say we mutually parted ways. Even when they get rid of coordinators, they'll be like, oh, Greg Roman parted ways. Because they don't want to have that stigmatism. They're not like, oh, we're not firing anyone. For them to come out, especially with Harbaugh of all people, and be like, hey, this was not mutual. He wanted to come back and we're moving on. That, it tells me that Steve wants a change.
Yeah. But again, now what? Like, it's all well and good. I agree with the move. I think most Ravens fans agree with the move, but I'm only going to agree with this move if you hire the right guy. And it's a tough thing to do. There's a reason why a lot of these teams that are looking for a new head coach have been looking for new head coaches for a long time, because it's hard to find that guy. It's really hard.
Yeah.
But
I mean, here's the reality of this business. This is why, and I'm excited. We'll have Tony join us here because we'll wrap up Josh. But at the end of the day here, the hardest thing and the scariest thing is, the hardest thing is to win a championship. And it might seem easy what the Chiefs are doing or what the Patriots did. Extremely challenging. Like, the Eagles are trying to do it, and you're seeing people are trying to find ways to bring it down from the outside. They're not the same team they were last year, but they're still in it again. But the other part that's so scary is, if you move on, does your team still have that winning formula? Because everyone's fear, at least for the Ravens, if Ravens fans, this is what you've gotten to experience for as long as you've been alive. And for Josh, for your case, because you're 21, right?
Yeah, it was 3.
Youngin', man. So the Ravens have been a constant contender, winner, even in the years that they missed the playoffs or didn't work out. There was expectations every single year that they were going to have a year. That they, like, hey, we're going to get to the playoffs. And if we get in, when it was Joe Flacco, it was just get in because Joe's amazing in January. And then when Lamar took over, he's the best player in the league. Well, if we get in, we can make some noise. It's only a matter of time. But now it's going to be that one constant's gone. Do you win next year? If you don't win next year, pressure's going to build to win even more the following year. So, that's what I got for you, Josh, man. Are you okay? Are you okay with this debut? Would you want to come back?
Yeah, I had fun with it.
Nice.
I had fun with it. This is fun, man. I love it.
Yeah, you're a grinder, dude. I think we got some things on the horizon that'll be a lot of fun. But for those there's a lot of people that have followed your content. They love what you're doing. But for those that don't know, where can they find all your work?
Yeah, the Next Network, TikTok, Instagram, a little bit of YouTube. The YouTube has been my vlogs at these games, where really you kind of just rewatch the game like you're sitting with me for a full game. Because Noah Cohen's in the chat, personal friend, he can tell you I am incapable of like turning this off. So like those vlogs are just me going for 3 hours. And so I got to edit down that Steelers thing. But yeah, TikTok and Instagram are the main thing. Twitter as well. So yeah, next network. And then Twitter's next network, Josh. Yeah.
You know what? Of course. And we've seen you, we've seen you very passionate. We've also seen you piss off some people unintentionally, but just
shout out Steelers fans.
I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see the vlog on it, and we'll have you back on to talk more. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for opening for Tony Dungy.
Yeah, tell him I said
I will. I can't wait for who you're going to open for next.
Yeah, sure, man. I loved it.
All right, Josh Burman, everybody. See you, Josh. Good kid. Good kid. And if you guys are new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. If you guys know also the phrase good kid, it's one of my highest endearing qualities. You know, Zach's a good kid.
I try.
Rocco is not a good kid.
No.
You know what Rocco did to me the other day, Zach?
What do you do?
Rocco said, "Hey, I need to run something by you." Like,
yeah, he did the same thing to me and sent you that picture
of him. Yeah, and all of his Steelers jersey and the thing. I'm like, dude, I thought you were gonna do something like that, and I was gonna say something and do something, but I didn't. My emotions didn't let get the best of them.
And I mean, that's like you said, I should have seen it coming. He said he needed me to look over something for a video, and I was like, all right. I was like, yeah, what you got? Then he sent that, and I just unreal. Can't take that kid anywhere.
You literally can't here. But for his case, Rocco's a Steelers fan. The Steelers won the game. They got a Monday night day with the Houston Texans. Should be a great one. And we appreciate we do appreciate Rocco kind of when he gets people's names right, and he also just isn't a pain in the ass. But for all of the ones watching right now, if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We're going to have Tony Dungy joining us here momentarily in the next 5-10 minutes to talk about everything that kind of transpired. I would love to hear the behind the scenes, because you know what I've heard a lot, Zach, so far across the social platforms is, oh, you don't even know all the things that go on behind the scenes here. And I'm sure that Tony might not say every single thing, but I think he's going to divulge quite a bit of what does that mean? What happens? Talk to us why you think this is so hard, because I have an idea, but there's a reason why he's in the Hall of Fame. There's a reason why he's lived it. He's breathed it. He's done it. And he's done it with some great players. Josh made an interesting point there, Zach, about the Peyton Manning conversation. And that's one thing that they made a change. But Tony Dungy as a head coach was fantastic. He was matched up with a great quarterback, one of the greatest. There's similarities there, but for different reasons. Like Tony Dungy didn't go on to coach another team or to go off into that part, right? Here, Zach, John Harbaugh is going to coach another team next year.
Yeah, I mean, and it's going to be weird, but yeah, I'm extremely intrigued to hear what Tony has to say about all of that with the Harbaugh stuff. I know he's been vocal about maybe disagreeing with the move, so intrigued to hear that. But then also, hear about Lamar's involvement also in picking the next coach, because we asked people yesterday. We've been kind of asking since the news broke of like, hey, what's next for this search? How involved is Lamar Jackson in it? Because we talked to Bo Smolka yesterday, and he kind of pointed out like Lamar is a season ends, let me disappear for a few months guy. And he always has been. That's been who he is. In the offseason, you see a few Instagram stories of Lamar in Miami or South Florida working out with a few players. You get those occasional him and Zay, him and Bateman, those guys, and it's them working out, and it's like, oh, they're putting in work, all that. But besides that, you don't really hear from Lamar. Very intrigued to see what the conversation will be like between the front office and Lamar Jackson about this coaching search, if they're guys that he prefers, if there's maybe how much they're going to weigh his opinion in on who takes over the reins of the Baltimore Ravens next year.
Yeah. There's so many different storylines that people are running with, Zach, and running. And it should be a fun way to see it all unfold here. New to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Live here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. And we do go on Spotify and Apple, wherever you find your podcast after. We're just not live. So if you want to be live, do that. But regardless of where you're listening from, hey, Zach, let me back it up for a second. Hey, regardless of where you listen from, come closer. Hit that like and subscribe and follow button. Helps us out tremendously right there, and allow us to continue to grow and expand. We have a lot planned in 2026. It's going to be a good time. We got our credentials for the Super Bowl, Zach, so we will be going there. Figuring all that out. We'll talk about that more in a minute. One thing I did want to mention here, actually, Zach, this is just a little PSA for my Marylanders here. Zach, do you like food? Do you like to wine? Do you like to dine?
Oh, yeah.
Do you? I mean, are you just shaking your head because I shook my head?
Yeah, I'm just getting in the mood. What are we doing?
Okay, well, here you go. I didn't even tell you. Boom. Guys, there is a Dine Around Maryland club that is going on right now. So, Whammy, what I want to talk about right now. So, Zach, hold on. Come closer. Hey, Zach, come here. So, Dine Around Maryland is a program that is running, and they have a membership. And if you love food, there's 150 restaurants that are participating in this program. So we did a live show at Rock Salt out in Westminster. I brought it up. I'll shout them out again. But 150 plus restaurants in over, I forget how many counties there are now in Maryland, but it's across the state. And here's the thing that gets really juicy. You want to hear something real quick, Zach? I'll expand it out. Come closer. If you sign up for the membership and you go there with a group of 4 and you say, hey, I would like to get my check, and you're a part of this membership, you get 50% off at your meal. 50%. And the membership, Zach, here's the kicker. $195 for the entire year to join the Dine Around Maryland Club. And essentially, if you think about it, 50% off all the time and 3 meals, you're paying that off. It's a great deal if you love food. It's a great deal. And also the one thing I love, Zach, if you love Maryland as much as we do, and this is why we like to partner with people that want to make a difference, Dine Around Maryland as well, this is helping small businesses, man. This isn't the big corporations and group. These are helping restaurants that are big in their communities. So Dine Around Maryland wants to give back to them. You didn't know that I was coming with that flavor, did you?
I did. 50%, that is no small feat.
No, it's beautiful. It's BEA, beautiful. So one more time for the one time, guys. If you are a food lover and you would like to participate with it, check out Dine Around Maryland. And it's very easy to find overall. If you want to go to, I had the right thing, marylandrestaurants.com for more information. I will put that in there. So anyone that's interested, go check it out. You won't regret it. And heck, I wasn't kidding, Zach. I got my membership. I'm rocking and rolling. If you want to invite me to a meal, well, guess what? We want to split the bill. Great. I'll give my 50%. Invite me for a meal. Let's have a good time.
Can't wait.
I appreciate it. Yeah, except you, Zach. Not the one for you. But I digress. I just put the MarylandRestaurants.com in there and Dine Around Maryland. Appreciate the service. Go help small businesses. It's been a fun show so far. It's been a really I'm still in the reaction mood, Zach, or processing mood. And I told you this before. I feel certain ways just because of growing up in Baltimore. You have a relationship with a lot of these people, especially on these sports teams. And John Harbaugh was one of those for me. And so I'm sad to see him go because of the person that I know specifically, but I'm happy for what could be in store for him. Just didn't end the way that anyone in Baltimore wanted it to end. So, and Coach, when you're ready, give me a thumbs up. We'll bring you on. Okay, he's ready. He's always ready. I feel like he's always constantly on the go, or especially maybe it's football season, you see him on the go. But Hall of Famer, Super Bowl winning head coach, and I think he's one of the best football minds, so I'm very gracious he's taking the time. But let's bring on Tony Dungy. Coach.
What do you say, guys? Good to be with you. I'm probably like you guys, disappointed Can't figure it out. A little frustrated, but we'll see what happens.
Hey, coach, before we get into all of that, I coming from a baseball family, and a lot of the things that I always had was minor league stories, getting going with your career. Do you have one of your stories? Because I always like the build up. As Coach Tony Dungy, do you have any of those ones that you remember when you were trying to just figure it out in the early days?
Yeah, I had a lot, and I went to the Pittsburgh Steelers in 1977. I was a rookie, 21 years old. I'd played quarterback my whole life. Didn't really know what to expect. Pittsburgh was going to switch positions and see what I could do. I got to the first meeting. They had won 2 Super Bowls already before I got there. And Chuck Noll gets up in the first meeting. I'm in the front row with my notebook out. And he says, "Welcome to the National Football League. You're now getting paid to play football. It's your profession now. Get that? It's your profession." And I'm starting to write and thinking he's going to say, "Hey, you worked hard in high school. You worked hard in college. You better work 5 times as hard. This is, going to be so much more than you've ever experienced." And he says next, "It's your profession, but don't make it your whole life. If you make football your life, you're going to leave the game disappointed." And that was not what I expected to hear at all. And he lived that out for me for the next 10 years. I played for him for 2 years and then coached for 8. And I was in an organization that taught me not only how to be a player, how to be a coach, but how to be a man. And I'm forever grateful for that, Ryan.
That's really cool to hear. And I think that a lot of people, look, sports is a huge part of us. I grew up in a baseball family where my grandfather, my uncle, my father, myself, and baseball is a huge part of our lives, but it's not the only thing.
Yes.
And I think that's the part here. Yeah. But I got to say, you had some great mentors, it seemed, and obviously you had a fantastic career, especially in the head coaching ranks. And I know you had a lot of trial and tribulations, but I thought you were the perfect person to talk to about this because I feel like for you, you understand how hard it is to win. You understand that this business is also ruthless at times. And I saw your comments the other day about the decision with John Harbaugh being the decision to move on from John. And you said that this would be a mistake. And I think you were alluding to because you understand how hard it is to win. Could you just elaborate a little bit more on this and kind of your feeling of why you said what you said?
Yeah, and I didn't really say it was a mistake. I said I didn't understand it, and I don't know.
Yeah, sorry, not a mistake. That didn't understand the move. Not trying to put words in there.
We are in the NFL. We broadcast the game on NBC, and it's Pittsburgh against Baltimore for the division title. Winner is in, loser goes home. I'm there 2 days early, and all I'm hearing is the team that loses, the coach could be in trouble. And I'm sitting there to myself thinking, are you kidding me? We've got one coach who's been there 19 years. He's won a Super Bowl. He's never had a losing season. We've got another coach who's been there 18 years. He's been to the playoffs 12 times. They've won here for the last 3 or 4 years. How could they be in trouble? I don't understand it. Well, my job, I was sent there by NBC to interview Mike Tomlin. So I interviewed Mike on Saturday. I stopped by Art Rooney's office and I talked to him for about 30 minutes. I didn't get any sense that Mike Tomlin was in trouble from talking to Mr. Rooney. He was talking about going forward and how things were going to be and what they were looking forward to doing. So I said to myself, well, this is crazy. Pittsburgh looks like they're not going to win the game. Looks like Baltimore's going to win. The kick goes wide right. The stadium explodes. Everybody's happy and fired up. I never dreamed that anything can happen with John Harbaugh. And I get the news the next day. My son told me, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was one of those, they've got it on social media, but it's really not true. I actually spoke with another owner who was considering a move with their front office and head coach. And we talked about it. And I said, here's what you have to consider. Don't look at your record because a game can go one way or another on a bad call, a missed field goal. That can happen. Here's what you need to really discern. You're there every day. Is the building being run the way you want it run? Is the coach and the general manager taking it in the direction that you want? And the second question is everybody in the building on the same page? If you answer yes to those questions, proceed forward. You've got the right person in charge. If no, it's not being run the way I want, then have a discussion with the leadership and tell them the way you want it run. If everybody's not on the same page, that's a different story. Now you have to discern if that person can get everybody on the same page. If you don't think so, then maybe you need to make a move. But don't base it on the record. Don't base it on fans. Don't base it on the noise outside the building. Watch what's going on in your building. And that's what surprised me more than anything. We had the Ravens 3 times. And believe me, they lost. They had the lead all 3 games we had them, and they lost the games. But if you watched the sideline, if you saw the players, I saw a togetherness, a unity. There's no doubt in my mind they were going to follow John Harbaugh. So I was surprised, but I don't know what's going on in the building. And I don't criticize Steve Bisciotti. I just say good luck in finding somebody better than John Harbaugh.
This is the scary part now, because all the Ravens have done for the last 18 years has been a competitive team. And the one thing I hated, Coach, with this is, for some people, I opened up the show talking about, and some people saying, oh, well, Harbaugh just had good players. That was the only reason. I said, no. Don't you undervalue a head coach who's been consistent for 8 years. Because I'd make this argument to you, Coach. It's or to everyone with that, and I think you'll agree with me. If you tell me a great coach that went on to win a Super Bowl, you would understand this. You probably had some great players too. I think that's a part of a great team, but to be a head coach for that long, it takes more than just having one special team. You got to be able to control a organization, control a locker room, a whole group. And that was something that I think John Harbaugh did extremely well. Unfortunately, it didn't end the way that we want, but I think, would you agree to that sentiment?
Absolutely. John Harbaugh was a very good coach for the Baltimore Ravens. They had a lot of success there. We'll see what happens. Hopefully this is a good move for both sides. I look at Philadelphia. Andy Reid had a nice run there. For some reason, they decided to make a move and say, well, Andy Reid's not our guy. He went to Kansas City. I think he did pretty well after he went to Kansas City. Okay, but Philadelphia eventually hired the right people. They got it going. They won too, and it was a win-win situation. I was kind of in John's situation. I went to the playoffs 3 years in a row and got fired in Tampa. Okay, they hired John Gruden. They won a Super Bowl. I went to Indianapolis, got to coach Peyton Manning. I was able to get a Super Bowl. So it was a win-win situation. I would just say this for Baltimore. You've got a roster that's built to win now. I hope they get a coach who can service things and drive things the way John did. This is not time to get a young guy who we're going to train on the job. No, you better win right now. Those players are expecting to win, and that's what they're looking for.
And I think that's an emphasis right there, Coach. Win right now, and that's probably the reason why Bisciotti made a change. Is on paper, the Ravens were supposed to be a Super Bowl favorite. On paper. Also, by the way, you got to see 3 of the best games, it seemed like, all year, by the way, in person. So not good for the Ravens, but overall, to the point, the Ravens were expected to win, not just win it all. And I think that's a big reason. Bisciotti's always level-headed. I've gotten to know him over the years. Clearly, it got to a tipping point for him. The blown fourth quarter leads, Derrick Henry not being in the game late. I saw your comments on that. Like, all those decisions. I mean, I still laugh about that part, because your reaction, I think, was everyone. Where's the big guy? Where's 22?
Yeah, I was one of the loudest critics. The last 12 minutes and 50 seconds, Derrick Henry's not on the field. He doesn't touch the ball when you're protecting the lead. I don't understand it. But that was a decision made by that coaching staff. They had to live with it. But I still look at the body of work. I look at what John Harbaugh has produced there. I looked at how the team fought and believed in him. Now, I'm not there every day. I'm not inside the building. So I can't say, oh, you shouldn't have done this or whatever. That's Steve's decision. All I can say is good luck. I hope you find a good man that delivers for you. It's not going to be as easy as you think.
Good point. Hey, before I let you go, Coach, Zach has a question. Zach, come on here for a second, because the other part here is around Lamar Jackson and people thinking, well, you built a team around Lamar. You want to make Lamar happy. I think that's where you're going with this, Zach.
Yeah, Coach, thanks for joining real fast. Obviously, you talked about, players, they want to win. This organization is built to win right now, and you need to bring in someone who's going to unite the players and get them all going in that direction. You currently have a 2-time MVP in Lamar Jackson, as Ryan just alluded to. You built your team around him. In your opinion, how much of a say does a guy like Lamar Jackson have in picking the next coach? Is it something where, hey, he's got to be, they talk to him about, hey, do you like this guy, or this guy? Or how do you think that should go across or along with an MVP quarterback?
I don't think that quarterback has any say in it. I think Steve Bisciotti has to say, what am I looking for? And that's what I always, when I talk to people in this position, and I've talked to a few owners in the past, general managers, and here's always my question. What do you want? What type of leader do you want? What are you looking for? And then I can help you determine that. Greatest example I know, Pittsburgh Steelers, Dan Rooney. I talked to him many, many years ago, and he said, you know what? I've always wanted a defensive coach. We have playing cold weather. We're a blue-collar city. We're going to win with defense. I want a young guy because I don't want to do this every 4 or 5 years. So I want somebody who's going to be here 15 years. And I believe that coaching is teaching and communicating. So I'm looking for a defensive-minded, young communicator. 1969, he hires a 30-something-year-old Chuck Noll from Baltimore. Okay. 1992, he hires 30-something defensive coordinator from Kansas City, Bill Cowher. 2007, he hires 30-something defensive coordinator Mike Tomlin from Minnesota. That was his. I know what I want. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. And that's what you've got to go by. Not what does the quarterback want? What does the fan base want? What does my MVP player want? No, what do I want? What suits me? Because he's got to mesh with me. I'm going to be here as Steve Bisciotti. I'm going to be here for the next 20 years. Lamar might be here 2 or 3 more years. And I want him to be happy, but I'm not hiring a coach for him to be happy. I'm hiring a coach that meshes with my philosophy of leading men.
Yeah, I think the bigger part right there, I was going to say, whoever's going to lead this team and lead the men into the battle every Sunday or Monday or Thursday, whichever day they're playing on now, Coach. I think football is now it's every day of the week, it feels like. But, I always look back to the mantra, play like a Raven. And people say it can be corny and cliche, but I think that's what Bisciotti's looking for. Physical, tough, gritty. And this was maybe one of the few years I can remember where that wasn't necessarily how the Ravens were viewed. And I agree. And so that's a part, at one time I was going to say of the battles, because I've been around and I remember going to the game. And actually, Coach, I got to tell you this story real quickly, because 2006, there was a playoff game in Baltimore.
I can tell you the story. Your dad flipped the coin before the game and had the crowd going crazy.
Well, and you know what? They lost. And you know who I blamed? I blamed him. I said, you can't go on the field again for a playoff game. You can't do it.
Well, I was mad when he came down there because the crowd was in a frenzy to begin with, and then they introduced Cal Ripken to flip the coin, and they went ballistic. And I said, we don't need any more of this.
And you know what, Coach? So the funny thing with that, besides the fact that it's one of the first games I've ever seen a Peyton Manning against the Ravens not score a touchdown. There was no touchdown in that game.
Yes, that's correct.
15-6.
Yes.
And that was a great run for you. Happy for you. You broke my heart, but happy for you. But also the next time my dad was going to do the coin flip, they asked him before the Houston Texans playoff game in 2023, I believe. And he asked me beforehand, and he goes, hey, they want me to do this. And I gave now hold on. Hold on a second. If you do this, I will not forgive you if they lose. I don't care if everyone thinks that you've done a lot of great things for the city. But don't do this to me. But luckily, the curse is off, Coach. But I'm glad
he can do it again. Then he can flip the next playoff.
Oh gosh. Well, Coach, I'm glad you remembered that. That was a great atmosphere. Baltimore is a very proud city.
And that was Ravens football. That's, to me, what the Ravens are all about. And that's what they've got to recreate. And hopefully the coach they bring in embraces that history and that philosophy and that mindset and gets it reignited.
We hope so. Well, Coach, I hope season's going to die down a little bit. I hope you enjoy. Is there anything that people should be on the lookout besides they see you on the television?
No, I'll tell you what, I just, I'm sad for the Ravens fans that they aren't in the playoffs, because this is the most wide open AFC group that I've seen. I think had they made it, they could get on a run and go win it, because I just don't think there's a great team in the AFC this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's an opportunity that you feel like is missed, but you know what? Someone's going to win it, and it's not going to be the Chiefs or the Bengals representing the AFC for the first time since 2018. The only other person was a guy named Tom Brady, which thankfully – oh, goodness, man. And you had a lot of run-ins with
yes, we did.
Mr. Brady. He cost you some more opportunities.
Yeah, and we had to chase them down. And I'm glad they didn't fire me, because I lost to him a couple of times.
Oh, gosh. Well, hey, you know what? I'm so glad you got a chance to win a Super Bowl, Coach. I always enjoy your insights. I think you're still one of the best out there. And I really appreciate your time coming on. And I hope to get to talk to you in the future.
All righty. Well, thanks, guys. Great to be with you. And let's go Ravens.
Hey, go Ravens. Thanks, Coach. Tony Dungy, everybody. Thank you. I was wondering if he was going to remember that story, Zach. I was sitting there because I was so giddy about going to this game. And I was sure, like, this is the year the Ravens are going to beat the Colts. Oh, my dad's going to do the coin flip. And then they lost. And I still remember, I go, Dad, like, it was you. I'm a superstitious guy. I'm like, the common factor here is you.
Yeah.
Oh. It's all right. We forgive him. We don't
forgive and forget.
People, no. People don't. I don't forget.
Yeah, forgive, don't forget, I guess.
Man, that's interesting. Well, hey, we got to go Ravens out of Tony.
Yeah, we'll have that forever. Might not have a Super Bowl, but we'll have that forever.
Don't say that. Don't say that. We hope to have a Super Bowl in the future. I did appreciate, though, and the thing is, where everyone's saying that, hey, Tony's been around for a long period. He has. But also, what I loved hearing with this, to wrap this up, Zach, also, great question with the Lamar. I was waiting to try to tee you up. Yeah. Thank you. And I know I saw Next Network, Josh, free Zach. He's freed. Yeah. You're freed.
I was freed. Thanks, Josh.
But overall, I thought that was an important thing. It's not that you don't want to cater to your quarterback. You want to, but also you want to go back to what makes you what makes the organization work. And I thought his examples that he mentioned with the Steelers, I thought that was fascinating, because you have to decide. It goes back to the identity part, right, Zach?
Yeah.
And Lamar is, I hope they keep Lamar in the loop on what he wants. Like, and what does he value? But at the end of the day, I think it goes back to that mantra, play like a Raven. Who embodies that as a coach? And then if you do that and you hire right, Zach, I think you're going to get the most out of the two-time MVP and future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a tall task to get the next guy in, and like Coach said, to go out there and win immediately. And it's not an easy thing to do, but that's the task that the next guy's going to have, because this is a Super Bowl contending team. At least the expectation is. So this isn't coming into a rebuild where you're hoping to establish a culture over the next few years and then, take off from there. This is a plug and play. You got to show up and win immediately. So it's going to be very intriguing to see who they end up going with and kind of going from there.
Yeah. Also, Mary, I see you. Zach, you were 6.
Yeah, I remember watching this down in Canton.
Actually?
Yeah, at 6 years old. Yeah, this is one of my first sports memories, was losing that game.
That's tough. Dude, I remember specifically the Colts just always used to just own the Ravens. They did when Peyton Manning. And also, if you played Madden during that time, like that was the other thing that kind of ticked me off is that you'd play Madden, you go red 7, and you'd play against Madden 05. You played against the Colts in that. Peyton Manning would audible in the game 17,000 times, and the play clock would get down to 1. And if you tried playing that Colts team on all Madden, it was the hardest thing to do against Peyton Manning. And then that was actually like real life. The Ravens couldn't figure him out.
Gosh, what a...
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, that was a tough one. Definitely not, 21 points scored in the game, all via field goal. Not NFL went like that today. That's for sure.
Yeah, not like that today. 15-6. And the Colts actually that year then, after that, they slayed the demon with the Patriots down in Indy. Came back and won that, Yeah,
that was a big one. That was that was their get over the hump year.
It was. And so, that's the interesting part right there. And Tony mentioned, I'm glad they didn't fire me. They that was a part. But I think in this case, Zach, I do think the Chiefs being out this year and how that went and how it happened with the Ravens, the Chiefs right now, they can get a pass. They've been winning. If people were like, it's over now, the Chiefs are going downhill. Well, if they are, they were a dynasty. They were going to the Super Bowl. They've been the best team in the AFC for the last 7-8 years. For the Ravens, they have been one of the best teams and yet haven't gotten over the hump. And that was the part here that became a challenge. And that's what ran its course. And it's not that I think what Coach is trying to say, and he reiterated it too, Zach. He was saying, I'm not in that building, but you got to make sure that this is right. I believe that Bisciotti, he's doing what's right because of what's transpired. He's seen it, he's felt it. But time's going to tell. Time's going to tell here.
Time is going to tell. And that's the only thing that will tell. We can speculate all we want. We can, heck, when they make the decision, we can go through all of that and talk about the scheme and, the hype behind this and that. We're not going to know until they hike the football in September. And honestly, we're probably not going to know until a year from now when hopefully the Ravens are in the postseason and they get their shot of, okay, how are we going to perform now in the postseason when it matters the most? But until then, it's the waiting game you're in because you can hire the guy you think that's right. Everyone can sit there and say you made a home run hire. Got to prove it. So it's going to be a waiting game, but we'll see what happens.
For sure. And it is going to be a waiting game. There's no doubt, no ands, ifs, or buts about all that. Before we get on out of here, I think I just saw Brad send a message. This was something. Can you pull that clip real quick that Zach put in the Discord? Or not Zach, Brad. You're Zach.
Yeah, let me pull it up, bro.
Because a lot of people for all of this, and it would have been great if we had him on an hour later yesterday, but Dan Orlovsky was talking about how Harbaugh is an elite coach. They need to change certain things, but he didn't necessarily think that getting rid of him was going to be the decision. That's just how a lot of people felt. But Zach, I think today on ESPN, he had a very strong tune. You have that clip?
Yep. 1 second. Yeah, we have it.
So why don't we play that clip? Dan was very, very opinionated on that, and let's play that, and we'll react on the other side.
Right now, there's no way you can say it's the right move.
Yeah, we'll find out if it's the right move.
Correct.
Right?
But right now, there's no way because there's no one that at least we have an idea being available sniffs Harbaugh's resume.
I would agree. Yeah.
So you're going to take a step back when it comes to that. Now, will that person grow and develop and become? Right. The Patriot example, Vrabel had, established himself as an elite coach. Ben Johnson was this brilliant brainiac offensive mind. And I think Hawk's point of, well, can we take advantage of Lamar? I mean, how much more can we take advantage of him?
We got to get him back on track, right?
Right, yeah, but a part of that is a health.
Right.
We're saying we want to find someone to take that one final step more than once. Harbaugh's won one. So we're trying to, can you take that one final step more than once, which is the hardest? I just think it's a very slippery slope and a very dangerous world to live in, thinking, we'll just get rid of him and all of a sudden we're going to be okay, you know?
You know, to talk about that real quickly, with Dan, what he's trying to say, you know, and people were going to say, well, no, they had to make the move. They didn't have to, but what Dan's saying next year, and we talked with Josh earlier, talked with Tony Dungy, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to win the Super Bowl next year. Because if it's that simple, things would have been done a long time ago. And we've already gone over the list. A first-year head coach coming in, which I think both of us, Zach, believe it's going to be a first-year head coach, first time being a head coach. To Dan's point, are you unlocking Lamar more? I don't know if you can unlock Lamar more. He's a two-time MVP. He's one of the best players in the league. Could you manage in-game more? That's probably the biggest thing, because a lot of the leads that the Ravens have had, double-digit losses. And on top of it, there has been questionable moments. I think that's the part where, is that the difference? Because if that's the difference, then sure. But I guess we're going to find out.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing. Like, yes, I think we all agree that the resume, no one out there has a resume comparable to John unless you want to go Mike McCarthy, but I don't see the Ravens going Mike McCarthy. It comes down to the fact of not, do you think there is a better coach right now than John Harbaugh? It's just simply that you needed a new voice. You needed a different message. You needed something to spice it up. How many times, like, you know, we'll bring up the Philly thing. Like, just because there's good coaches doesn't mean that there aren't times that you just got to move on. Like, it doesn't mean that he's a bad coach. He's a great coach. He's a very good coach. He's won a Super Bowl. Not many can say that. So he's been to the top. It's just at some points it's time. You know, I see Josh talking about it in the comments about you got to take the risk. Like, this is not a safe move. This is not. The safe move was keeping Harbaugh. That was the safe move. This is taking the risk and saying we think that this team can elevate a little bit more with a different message, with a different mindset. It's trying to invigorate something into this team, you know, rejuvenate them in some way. So I think that's the biggest thing is, no one on the market, especially these OCs and, you know, defensive coordinators, no one has the resume of Harbaugh. It's just not going to happen. But what you're hoping is that the message, even though it won't be the same, maybe it's similar, something changes, the messenger changes, and now suddenly maybe you get over that hump. Maybe it's a mental thing. Maybe it's not. You know, this could blow up in their face. This could be a resounding success. We don't know. And the only thing that's going to tell us is time.
Time gives us the best answers. The other thing to close out with that, Zach, for the Ravens overall, I mean, look, I think pressure is going to be off more now when this new coach comes in. Because even though I'm saying the expectation still is going to be that they need to win and to go to the Super Bowl. Like, I'm not going to say it isn't. But if Harbaugh had stayed, we're playing this hypothetical now. If Harbaugh had stayed, do you know how much pressure would have been on for the Ravens to get off to a fast start? And that would be magnified, because what if the Ravens get off to a slow start next year? And then you're talking about during the season. You're trying to talk about changing things up. I think with this clean slate, bring a guy in, understand there's going to be growing pains, but even with the growing pains, you still expect that you can get to that next level, but it's not going to be out of the gate, right? Like, they're not going to expect week one that Baltimore is going to come out here humming like in Buffalo, and then you lose the game, and then you lose to the Lions, and you lose to the Chiefs.
I disagree sort of in the fact that I think there's pressure of, if they start 1-4 next year, 2-5, of there's going to be, maybe not from the fan base of saying, because they all, you know, want something different. But I think the national talking point is going to be, especially let's say John Harbaugh goes to the Giants and they start off 4-2 and the Ravens are 2-4. You don't think the headlines aren't going to be, the heck did the Ravens do? How could you pass up John? How could you give up on John Harbaugh? Like, there's going to be pressure on everyone now. So the new guy comes in. I think it's less pressure than Harbaugh, because Harbaugh, you pretty much had to go like 15-2, win a Super Bowl for people to not want you gone if you came back. But for this new guy, you missed the playoffs. You don't have a great year. It's not going to be this long leash. This isn't a rebuilding team. And I think that's the mindset a guy's got to come in with. This is not a rebuild. This is not we're going to build a culture for 2 years, then go for it. This is we are in a win now, plug and play. Get here, go to work, and try to win a Super Bowl. So it's going to be very intriguing to see how it all plays out, because there is pressure on this new guy. It's not a rebuild. It's not going to be, hey, we're losing, but the attitude is different. But there's a different feeling in the building. All the stuff you see when a new guy gets to a rebuilding team, it's going to be a lot of focus on the wins and losses. And that's going to matter. And I can tell you this: Ravens blow a lead week 1. No.
It's a good point, Zach. It's a great point. I still think if we were to say a new head coach comes in and goes 0-2 compared to Harbaugh starting the year 0-2 with the Ravens, everyone's going to look at, why did you bring that guy back? But you know what's going to dictate this thing, and you just mentioned it. It's if the Ravens do get off to the slow start, and wherever Harbaugh goes, they become a top team, or they are contending early, then that's where it's going to be, right? And there's a very good chance of that. The schedule, even though the Ravens finished second, can argue they got a tougher slate. They're going to Buffalo now. It's been a tough place for them to win. They've actually played better in New England. Different stadium.
Maybe that.
Hey, making that trip. Hey, I ain't missing a trip to Buffalo this time. I cannot wait to go for that. But this is the fascinating storyline. We don't know the correct answer, but it felt like, I think we can both agree, Zach, even though it feels weird, in this case, it seems like the right moment to do this. It's the right time.
1,000%.
There's caution everywhere. There's anxiety everywhere. But right now, it's going to be a new era with new era 8 and Lamar Jackson. How can this Ravens team take that next step? Time will tell. But whoever it's going to be, the Ravens are ready to still win right now. So if you are new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show, do it live right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. Zach, we've had quite a last
27 hours. Yeah,
27 hours.
Been quite, and I do agree with Mary here. I'm already convinced the Ravens will start this year. Week 1, Ravens will be on primetime, either because they'll do the Thursday game, depending on who wins the Super Bowl, will depend on who the opponent is. But then there's a Friday game, then you have Sunday Night Football, you have 2 Monday Night Footballs. You think they're not putting the Ravens with a new head coach primetime? And that, I guess fight the demons early. You couldn't win on the road, or at least, or you couldn't win a lot of your primetime games this year. Obviously, the only 2 being Miami on Thursday night and the Malik Willis-led Packers. So gotta start fast.
Gotta start fast here. Oh man, time will tell. Been a good stream, and if you guys love a good stream, then hey, go check out AutoStream right here. Boom. I don't know if that's what I'm sticking with, Zach, but that's what we're starting with. We're getting there. We just partnered with AutoStream Car Care Center. They have 10 locations in Baltimore, in the Maryland region, I should say. Shout out to them. And they're letting me help you to kick off this partnership in 2026. If you go to any of their locations and you mention Ryan Ripken or I watch the Ryan Ripken Show, they will give you $50 off any service. Now, you can't combine with other offers already. If you go in and say, hey, I'm having problems with my tires, Zach, well, guess what? $50 off for that service. I appreciate AutoStream Car Care Center. It should be great. I appreciate what we have in store. So that's it for AutoStream. Now back to this stream. And we appreciate everyone on this live stream tonight. It's been a lot of wave of emotions. I want to thank Josh Burman with the Next Network for making his debut, for setting up legendary head coach and Hall of Famer Tony Dungy. I appreciate all our channel members, the good kids, the better kids. For our channel members, I put out the Dan Orlovsky interview we had yesterday. So if you're a channel member, go check that out. And I had a rip after dark, Zach. I was talking about you in the rip after dark.
When did you have one?
I did have one. I owed it to the people.
All right.
But also, I'm like, you know what, guys? I said, Zach didn't respond to my tweet about The Departed. 0 chance he's seen it. So that's why I texted you.
Yeah, I have not.
It crushes me. Like Departed.
We're checking off Troy for tomorrow.
Have you watched it yet?
No. You think I don't
Well, you better carve out 3 hours.
Yeah, you don't think I procrastinate homework?
That
what do you
checks
think
out.
This is? What do you think this is?
That checks out.
Yeah.
That checks out. But if you want to be a channel member, click that join button. Guys, it's really helped us in our process here. We appreciate all of it. It's been a huge help so far. Yeah, I can't wait till you understand what this means. You don't understand.
I've seen the memes, but like the GIFs from it, but no, I do not.
Oh, you've seen the memes? Well, then that's fine. You know what? That's great. You've seen the movie.
Well, I'm just saying, like I've seen the Hector, GIF. So like I
you don't.
But I'll get the context.
You might be more of a Paris. You might be. We'll find out. You don't know what that means yet, but you will. What?
So I just know that's an insult.
Well, you go watch it. And you'll understand. You might have the persona of a Paris, not a Hector. Okay.
I think that's you. I think that's you.
That's no.
I guess we'll never know.
I can say what Brooks just referenced. That is not said throughout Troy, but it is. Yeah. Go team.
Go team sports.
Go team. And we are, with all the support, guys, we appreciate it. We are 10 away from 23,000 on YouTube. Really great. We're off to a really hot start here in 2026. And this is only the beginning. We're really excited about baseball season, but we got a lot still to figure out here on the Ryan Ripken Show for the rest of this football season. But hit that like and subscribe, Zach. We'll be live tomorrow. And PSA, 3 p.m. showtime starting next week. We're moving the show to 3 p.m. 3 to 5 next week and beyond. But for this week, the rest of this week, we will stay live at 5. Okay.
5. Let's do it.
You ready? Here we go. Hey, Zach, come closer. Is the music playing?
Yeah. It is. Don't.
As always, here on the Ryan, we appreciate each and every one of you. Have a day, have a night, have a great rest of your Wednesday. We'll come back and join us tomorrow for a brand new edition.